been 24 hours since I posted that video, and I'm already triggered by the stuff I'm seeing. All right, thank you for clicking on my video. This is not going to be a hot take, but I am going to go on a bit of a rant. Okay. Um, the new updates, they've fixed the Arcane Intensify mod. I talked about it yesterday, but I'm already seeing people react to the Warframe content creators' videos and rushing helminths to be able to do builds because they appear to be broken. So I'm gonna fix it. I'm just gonna show you the mechanic that's broken, what they're abusing, and what's going on, and show the dynamic because it's like 3-4 things interacting with each other. It's gonna be a quick rant. I'm gonna try to keep it quick, like actually quick, not like 50 minutes quick. So with the Archon set, Warframes have gotten insanely strong all of a sudden. And like I sort of made a meme. Hold on. How do I zoom? Hold on, boomer moment, don't judge me. And for the love of God, don't plat purchase stuff that you don't even know about because a content creator came up with it. Okay, listen, the Glaive Prime is a fantastic weapon. Really, level cap capable. No issues there. But don't be rushing stuff. Just farm it when it's available. So there's that. I'm gonna make that my thumbnail. But okay, so here's the thing that is broken. If you notice, I've got my boy Benji here. And as you can probably guess, based on the skin, if you've seen it before, this is a Kubro. The interaction that is busted right now is, well, let me talk about the three dynamics, okay? Armor can essentially be non-existent, okay? So dealing with armor is now a matter of a helminth ability. And as Necros' Terrify, his AoE armor strip, is a helminth ability. I'm going to use Necros to show the interaction, but just know that because this is a helminth ability, any frame can do this. And for very little power strength, literally very little, you can full strip armor off of any enemy. And with Styanax's 2 being his helminth, once he becomes like farmable in game, because we're still waiting on standing to be able to upgrade Call's Garrison at this moment, shields and armor will be able to be completely removed. So okay, so let's look at the interaction real quick for corrosive. This is not a build, this is just to show an interaction. I have 139% power strength. Why? Because it is exactly what Terrify needs with corrosive projection to be able to full strip. If you need 100% armor reduction, corrosive projection alone brings us from the amount of armor, because these stack additively, abilities and auras stack additively. You need to be able to shred 82 armor from your abilities, because corrosive projection takes care of 18. Now I have 83% armor strip. Well, 18 and 83 is 101. So that's armor strip with a click of a button. So in a 15-meter radius, it's not bad. But okay, so let's talk about the interaction, right? It's not super busted, but on some frames it is. So we're going to spawn in some enemies, and we got our boy Benji here, and he does something special. Boom. As long as I do not use my weapons, I am stealthed permanently. As long as I stay within a radius of the enemy. And you can look it up here. It's the Stalk mod. 24 meters. So I can run around, and as long as I don't use a weapon, and I stay within 24 meters of an enemy, I can do whatever the hell I want. Right? But because of the new Archon mods, and because of how this stealth interaction works, I can use my abilities to kill stuff. So if I have a frame like, I don't know, Saren, or like Protea, something with a kill ability that does damage that scales, this even works on Volt. Equinox, this works on Equinox. As long as I am within this amount of space, I am permanently invisible until the end of time, which gives me an innate damage multiplier on attacks. Not to abilities, but to weapons. So it'll help sort of, but there's ways to mitigate this. Because you can helminth on an invisibility arrow also. So if I don't like Necros' 1, right? If I don't like his 1, there is nothing stopping me from helminthing on an Avara arrow and standing on a sleep arrow or an invisibility arrow and being permanently invisible. Now, what's the benefit of this? So we're going to strip. Still invisible, by the way. Now, okay, hold on. We are going to have to kill. Okay, there we got one. So you're going to kill your first enemy at the start of the mission. The timer's going to go, boom, it's back. Terrify. And I'm going to cast Shield of Shadows. And now, where before we had to contend with like being targeted, we are now permanently stealthed, and we have guys doing our bidding, and the only thing I have to do is keep my shadows up and keep the armor shred up. Now, obviously, there's going to be issues, because this guy's going to try to do whatever. But the issue of armor being a problem is now gone. So this is going to be not the main part, but this is going to be a heavy part of the survival meta, is being permanently invisible and being able to target. Couldn't you just imagine this build with like a resonator or something? I went AFK, sorry. Yeah, the timer kicked in. Or like a like an Avara noise arrow where it brings enemies in, or say like resonator, or maybe an ensnare where things can be easily targeted. There's no reason to freak out about these. And with the Archon mods, I'm seeing some bad hot takes being taken to heart by clan members and alliance members. I'm going to use a tool reference, not the band, but like literally like Snap-on, like Snap-on or like Milwaukee tool, okay? Archon mods generally are not a straight up replacement for something. They are more like a socket wrench that has a 45-degree bend in it. Okay? You don't need it until you need it. So it's not always going to be a direct upgrade. A lot of the Archon mods are really, really good and will have very good general uses. But don't think of them as a permanent upgrade to Prime mods. Please, God, do not go buy these things. They are, pardon, so easily farmable. But just know anything that is grouping or was super gimped by armor, so say like an Equinox 4 on day form, Equinox probably came out the farthest ahead in terms of like a straight up damage buff in the game. Like Nuke Equinox is 100% back. Necros can do this bullshit now with Shield of Shadows, where before you had to be able to like face tank, now you could probably get away with a significantly easier tank, where you would only have to deal with like the stray bombard hit, or to be able to get away from like an arson eximus AoE, where before you had to be able to like shield tank semi-consistently, though you did have the damage reduction because of the link to your shadows. Protea certainly came out ahead, because not only that, you can amp her damage on her turrets to something really high, and then you can strip armor, which will destroy most things. Like, what is it? It's plus 25%, right? What's the... there is a damage bonus on health. Cloned flesh, yeah, plus 25%. So Protea turrets are going to do damage. So an armor strip, like a Terrify on Protea, could probably be kitted to do a level cap run with. Especially if you have... because you can sit there and kill with the turret. So there's now going to be more consistent ways of the frame doing the damage, where before the methodology was, and it still stands, don't get me wrong, it still stands as like the main rule of you kill with your weapons and you have to survive on your frame so you can kill with your weapons. But you're, with very few exceptions, like say like a Saren, for example, where her spores can kill. Like, let's see that real quick. Doesn't even have to be a build. Alright, invisibility, buddy. There we go. Okay. And you just follow enemies around till level cap. And you just throw some every once in a while. You just got to make sure the spores stay up. And you just watch enemies die. Don't even use weapons. Now if you fire, right? If you fire anything, it'll bring you out of stealth. But then the stealth will re-trigger shortly after. And one of the little gimmicks that you can use is time. Like, hold on, we can actually just do it right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 seconds. So that's a shield gate and a rolling guard before the stealth triggers again, give or take. You can keep this alive. So give or take a rolling guard and an over shield gate, like a full shield gate, is how long it takes for the invisibility to kick back on. And the only thing you have to do is be able to keep your dog alive, because you will lose this ability if it dies. So this is going to be the main issue. The other issue is going to be the mecha set interaction with this. It's going to be particularly based, actually. Let's see if we can equip that sucker. Regenerative Molt's gone. Benji, where you at, my boy? This one. And what is it? I'm gonna have to put a new forma in this. But like synth fiber would go up with shields. Right? Hold on, I could probably do it right now. There we go. Okay, so it's gonna be this combo, right? Benji's gonna do Benji things. Alright. So we're going to wait for this guy to die. We're going to cast 4 to speed it up a bit. This is going to be the problem. Right here. Now watch what happens. All I'm going to do to level cap is follow this stupid ass little icon around. And throw spores on it. Oh man, would you look at that? Everything else has spores now. And it took an initial toxin proc. But here's the thing. If you notice, did you see the interaction? It spread the spores for me. The mecha set will spread spores. So all I'm going to do is follow this stupid-ass little dog mark around till level cap. Now, obviously, things like nullifiers can hurt this a bit. And you will have to wait running miter and whatnot. But you're just going to follow the dog icon around. This is the broken combination right now. And you're going to be invisible the entire time. So, I need everybody to just chill. The most broken thing in the game will always be, and this is going to be a hot take, okay? This is going to be a serious hot take. In terms of the most powerful things in the game, there is the mecha set, and then there's Octavia, because of how buggy this set is, in terms of damage. Okay? It is seriously busted. And every time, and here's the thing, every time it jumps and the mecha set gets triggered on wherever the little dude is, it multiplies the damage by 6.5 times, allowing the toxin procs from Sarin spores to exceed their capped amount. So you can get this up to 21 million damage a tick. Nothing's going to be able to take that, but it's what you can do. So this is the set that's bugged. Everything's dying, and I triggered AFK. Yeah, you won't get marks if you're AFK, so you sort of have to run around, but because I was running my mouth. So, just everybody chill out. I know, listen, the content creators are doing content creator things. They're trying to show interesting interactions, but please, God, do not believe that is the most busted thing in the game. What I just showed you was the most busted thing in the game. You cast spores once, you follow a mark around until level cap, and you hit damage cap eventually. That's it. Okay? You don't even have to fire a weapon. You don't even have to fire a weapon. You just run around for 9 hours, killing shit. And as long as nothing has a nullifier bubble, so obviously super effective against like Grenier, that's just how you run survivals. If you want to like really fucking cheese them. So just chill out. They're showing impressive builds. For the love of God, don't fucking rush helminth abilities. It is so dumb. It is a day. Okay, it's a day. I know there was a Protea and Snare build that was posted last night, but don't be buying Protea and then rushing her helminth. And then rushing, what was it, Korra? Or no, but don't buy Korra from the market just to rush a helminth on her. Because she's a little difficult to farm. Listen, it's RNG, it takes time, okay? Not everybody is going to run, or not everybody is going to roll, you know, threes, right? You're not going to get a full house every time when you play. There have been frames, even prime frames, that have taken me days to farm. There have also been times where I have farmed up a frame, every single part of it, in 6 relic runs. And I know a couple of people that have done it in 4. They literally one-banged each relic tier or whatever it is. Not tier, what is era. Each era. So you do like they did one mezzo, got the part. One Lith got the park, one Neo got the park, did an Axion got the part. So it's just RNG. There are so many more broken things in the game that will absolutely nuke maps. Just chill on spending the plat. Okay, just chill. I'm honestly a little triggered by it, but just realize the frame you are running is probably busted enough as is. And with shield gating as easy as it is to do, it's not that hard. I'll help with builds for people in the Alliance and the clan, even if people ask questions in the comment section. I realized I forgot to do an Excalibur build video for somebody where I specifically said, I'm going to wait until they change him. Well, they changed him like last week. I forgot about you, but I remembered, so I'm going to do a build on like a Steel Path Excalibur build. That could potentially level cap. So, just ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking, but for the love of God, do not watch a Warframe content creator from the content creator program build video and think that shit is gospel. That is somebody in my position running around and doing dumb shit. Okay? Like, oh my god, like this buffer Saren doing level cap disruptions. Do you have any idea how much that person has to spam protective dash to survive? Yeah, anybody can do it, but your 5 key is going to be broken by the end of the disruption run. You're going to break your pointer finger on the 5 key using that ability so much. Now, if you want to do it, you want to min-max, by all means. If you like flying around an operator, and because generally that sort of gameplay, when you see those really, really out of whack power strength, really kitted builds, is the person is operating or is jumping around in their operator, and they're not actually using their frame to tank. Okay. They're running around in their operator, they're void dashing around, getting to where the Demolist is, dropping down in front, returning to their frame in front of the Demolist after doing a Magnus lockdown, protective dashing, and then unloading all of their damage into the enemy is the overall play style for that. And they do hella damage. But don't think it's like a casual exterminate style, right? That is very, very specific to very, very specific things is where that style is used. So don't be buying Korra for the ensnare video. Don't be and rushing the helminth. Don't be buying Avara for the arrows so you can like get invisibility on demand and then rushing the helminth. Listen, Warframe's a grind, my dudes. Just enjoy the run, because it's like Warframe is like a long highway, and when you get to the end of it, the only thing that you see is a sign that says more highway to come. Okay, there's no get to paradise, there's no get to a destination, it's just highway. Enjoy the scenery. Okay, it's a wonderful drive, but don't be skipping highway thinking you're missing something. Okay, like you're skipping the purpose of Warframe at some point. Now, obviously, if you want to like focus on specific things and then farm it right, for sure. And I did want to respond to 2 questions. I think I'm going to make this a regular part of my videos, because I'm having trouble like text responding to everything. Oh, come on, give me the right thing. Tanner with the wall of text, I appreciate you. I was talking about my last video. This is something I tried to stress when I made a last video. Let's see exactly what he was talking about. Had told them it's the best weapon for Steel Path. Now, don't get me wrong. Oh, literally what I'm ranting about. Okay, he's referencing literally what I'm talking about. Content creators making like the new meta build and whatnot. Like, just chill. Synth set is the goat for set it and forget it. Yeah, no, the synth set, I agree. The synth set is one of the strongest utility sets in the game. And it's for some reason like people aren't shouting it from hilltops. Like use the synth set and Hunter Recovery on your pet and equip Equilibrium and just go play the fucking game. I feel this. Hold on. Because there's something you need from there. Like Hunter Munitions. Okay. Okay. I was talking about people rushing to the end, like what I was talking about. Skipping the drive, thinking you're getting to a destination. Yeah, more clear information, just knowing which set. To be honest, I might take like personal responsibility for this and make like an interesting set and where to farm them video. So when people, if they do make the decision to rush to the end, they will at least know where to head back to. Just like on sets and like, oh, you need to go here, here, and here and do this for like specific amps and whatnot. Because I think the point that I brought up in this video was how a lot of people skip the rep farms in the cities. And then you get to the end and like I had one person still have a moat amp trying to kill angels. That had to be pure pain. Meanwhile, I'm blowing the damn thing up with the 777, running the crit chance on energy depletion, void strike, and the, what is it, critical something with the crit damage boost, and I'm literally like two-shotting it on something that's a bullet hose AO cone effect or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, this retroactive content. No, I agree. It forces people to go back and appreciate things, but I think I might. He's got a good point. The clear information wouldn't hurt because it really doesn't exist. But this retroactive value, yeah, going back and it makes older content relevant. I just wish the new war update for the open worlds was more content. I mean, to be honest, what did we get? Like 5 new missions? They didn't even like refurbish everything. It was literally like the couple of armor missions, and it's like, hey, do these missions until you die so you can farm up Caliban. Okay, the boosters. Yeah, okay, so he listed out the boosters. I couldn't remember what they were for the relics. So Steel Path relics are Steel Path fishers are the way to farm now if you need resources or literally anything, and they stack with blessings. True. And they stack with the boosters and cat boosters, or not? Yeah, cat boosters with Smita procs, right? Hashtag man, get out of here. I was talking about how like people were spamming Vazarin Protective Dash to survive with glass cannon builds, and that's what, yeah, he's very sweaty. You can use I'll have to look into this. He's one of the people was like, why is this marked as Modern Warfare or Guild Wars 2 content? Because I mislabeled it, apparently. I'll have to look into that. Builds. Yeah, this is probably going to be... Imagine responding to a comment, responding to a comment, responding to a comment. Here we are, though. Legitimately, this is probably going to be the initial meta. And probably the default when modding shards is if you have a frame that is, say, like Loki, for example. And what was I talking about? I was talking about sharding, like potential sharding meta. Oh, he's talking about the Tau Forged. Oh, Warforged, Tau Forged. Okay, I remember this. Yeah, yeah. It's a straight up buff. It's opportunity cost. I was talking about somebody talking about like, oh, that's not the best way to do it. Listen, we don't know what the best way to mod shards is right now. You can theory craft it, and you can probably get it right. Actually, you can definitely get it right. But arguing about best in slotting something when you have 2 shards. We need hundreds of them. And obviously you want Tau Forged. So talking about best in slot and diminishing returns on 2 shards is just silly. Once we start getting to the point where it's like a 5 shard build, that's completely different. But we literally have 2 shards. Just like calm down for a bit. And he had a good point about the Steel Path, the Steel Path arcanes. This is a viable strategy if you have plat. Buy them first, but just make a mental note. Like at a minimum, get Merciless. Like just buy Merciless, or if you're using like a bullet hose gun, like a full auto gun, get Deadhead. But if you're using like an AoE weapon, like a Tonk or a Brahma, or like a Tsar, use Merciless. Saves a big headache and call it. Yeah, and as you farm and get through the mission, get through the star chart, you'll pick up more. It's true. It's viable. He's right. I made a comment about being frustrated. Listen, my peculiar bloom aggression will never end. I'm farming the fucking thing, okay? I'm doing it intentionally. I've had a bunch of people like, damn, you've done that many? Yeah, I've done that many. I'm fucking farming that shit. I will buy that horribly expensive Railjack mod before I buy Bloom. Neely responded talking about the same video. Do you really need to be this hard on yourself? Oh, it was me talking about the theory crafting. I find it harder. I'll get on too lazy to be systematic effort. Actually, let me read through this. Did he edit it? I remember reading this before, and there wasn't this much here. Do you really need to be this hard on yourself over it? I'm not sure why you think it isn't when it should be enough just telling them to ask Alliance and Recruit Chat if they need help urgently, even if they won't find it on the spot. But on the other hand, if you have a pool of help requests, gather somewhere, and for those of us who can and wish to help to take care of it in our routine agenda, it would be nice. I find it harder and harder to log into the game for my own sake, and I'm too lazy to make a systematic effort needed to compose such an agenda for myself, especially since I'm not in the game most of the time anymore. Yeah, Neely is actually one of the other clan leaders in the Alliance. He's an older player also. And this is, I agree with his sentiment. I feel it too, where it's just you burn through the new content because you're excited to finally do something, but because you're so efficient at the game, you just kind of finish it. And you're constantly stuck in a I have nothing to do state. Like the last time we actually had something to do, like as a clan, was when we hired a decorator. And it was really kind of cool because everybody was like, oh, we're getting decorations. And it was literally a full squad and sometimes a second squad of really old experienced players just farming as fast as they could. And we were doing 1-hour missions based on what we were running out of. Several people bingoed out of resources in the Alliance trying to help us farm up the dojo. And it was so funny because like we'd farm something up like plastids or something, or what was it, alloy, and we'd all come back and just give the clan like 1 million of it, right? And then we'd go farm the next thing that we needed, and then like 30 minutes into the run, the decorator would be like, oh, we're out of plastids again, or something like that. And it's like, what the hell? Like, and it became like a running joke. Oh, we did 40 minutes of like a steel path survival or something like that, and we finally farmed up enough for like 4 rocks. It was interesting, and it gave everybody something to do. And by the end of it, we had a second group and occasionally a third group doing nothing but farming for resources, because it was something to do, and it was something to put like like a chunk of time in, it was a purpose. But then again, guess how long it took? Like 2 weeks. And then we were back to nothing to do. But it's because everybody knew what the builds were. Everybody knew how to mod correctly. The farming went super easy. It was just a lot of it. And it was a blast. Even though it was literally just sitting in survivals and bullshitting in Discord. But other than that, like what Neely said, I completely agree. Like, when you burn out at the end, not that this was his point, but like, finding it harder and harder to log into Warframe, it's part of the reason why I have so many people in the clan and alliance. Is this gives me something to do, and it's not really something that can be completed. It's something where you're just constantly having to like put effort into it. But it improves other people's gameplay. It's not the main purpose of it, like the following comment, but like there is a little bit of living vicariously through their enjoyment, but it's not the main goal isn't to be parasitic about it, right? Like that parasocial relationship. But it is definitely there. I would be lying if it wasn't. Like helping somebody get a build together, or dealing with like a player that doesn't understand the builds and actually explaining it. Like say, like there was one guy further down that was asking about the Chorus stat stick, and I put out like a 55-minute video. Oh, come on. Archon, full Excalibur, Titania. I forget where it is, but somebody was asking about like a Chorus stat stick ability, and I put at least a reasonable enough amount of time into the response that they were actually able to understand the basics of modding, at least enough that they can then go read the wiki and understand what the wiki's saying. And that's a big thing, to see what the dynamics are. So I like doing that sorts of stuff, which is part of the reason why I did the YouTube channel. But yeah, to be honest, Neely, I don't think it's about laziness. I just don't. I think it's literally just a cost benefit thing, where the amount of energy that it would take might not be something that has too much of a benefit. But like in terms of this, I'm pretty sure I know what he's talking about. Where it was the player that needed Steel Path. I had actually missed this because it was a generic question. Yeah, okay. So I was talking about how I missed a player that had asked a question and asked for help on a mission. And then like a week or two later, they asked for help on a mission, and I didn't notice that they asked for the same missions on the same planet. And they weren't really progressing in the game, and they were getting frustrated. And eventually they finally said the complete thought in the Alliance Discord, where they were like, oh, I'm having so much frustration with this. I can feel burnout coming. And I'm like, whoa, that's a completely different thing than what you were asking. You were just asking for help with a node. Mentally, I didn't say this to him, right? But it's something I should have caught. My counter to this, Neely, would be it doesn't necessarily need to be a issue where it's like of importance. But my argument would be that somebody somewhere in the Alliance, and there's a couple hundred of us now, at least needs to have thought about it. Because even though this is a fun game, like we're a social clan, or I'm a social clan, you're a social clan, it's a social alliance. Most of the clans in the Alliance are social clans, or they're like families that play the game together. I'm really proud about that fact that we have so many like dads, moms, like their 13-year-old kid and like an uncle, and they have like a 4-person ghost clan. We've got a couple of those like that, where it's like 2 brothers and like uncle and aunt, like that sort of stuff. I really dig that stuff. And that's the sort of people that we have in the Alliance. And I think I remember taking a survey before we got the what is it? They were a moon clan at the time, but they're like a mountain clan. Before we got Bear's Clan, our alliance was like 80% women. Like we actually have like some older women and like a broad spectrum of age groups. It's not just like 10-year-olds. We have people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s playing Warframe in the Alliance, and I love playing with them. So I don't think going, oh, they're kids, not saying this was your point, but like the idea of like, oh, we're dealing with children. Um the simplicity of dealing with like a category or like an age group specifically, due to the nature of the fact that we have so many decades of variance in the average player, the idea of like a single solution fits all really applies to us. I think by nature we get defaulted out of it. Because like you're not going to deal with like a 10-year or like a 13-year-old the same way as you're going to deal with like a 55, 56, 57-year old. You know, those are two different ways of dealing with it. Like obviously with the older person, you can explain like the dynamics of a situation, like, oh, like these two forces need to be balanced, but you have to lean on it with this, and then you have to sort of deal with the negatives with the other side to find like balance on it, like in terms of like shield gating or say like modding or something like that, like explaining the difference between like modded damage, where it's like base damage only, and then you have like where the elemental mods count. Like somebody who's 13 isn't going to understand um, like how slash is only modded with base damage. So the slash damage mods, like the Carnus Mandible or something, literally does nothing to improve your slash damage. But at the same time, it will increase your raw damage against enemies. You know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff. They're not going to be able to pick that up generally. But an older player is going to be able to understand this is math piled on top of math on piled on top of math. Um, and the person in question was actually somebody where it's the husband, and I think his wife plays Warframe also. Don't quote me on that part. So it was really upsetting to me that I didn't catch it. That this is somebody who's in my age bracket with like a similar life experience, um, having issues with this to the point that they're not enjoying the game and they're not able to understand it because of the information available inside the game. Because it doesn't say this anywhere. Like the wiki explains a lot of this stuff. But if you were to play Warframe with one screen and not know about the wiki, there is stuff you would straight up not be able to do in Warframe. You literally would just not understand it unless you spent my amount of time in the simulacrum. So I agree with what you're saying. Like maybe I took it too seriously, but at the same time, I think um, somebody should at least think about the benefits and consequences of it. Um, and at least have like a way of explaining it. But I would agree that it doesn't necessarily need to be like a full blown everybody stop what they're doing, we have to change how we do this sort of way. I think it just needs to be a little bit of a language difference in how we phrase stuff. Because there like when people see like the build videos and whatever from like the content creators, a lot of times people will look at that stuff if they don't know any better, or they haven't played the game, or they're new to the game and they're in the process of learning. They will think that stuff is absolute gospel and they need to stop what they're doing. And if they do X, Y, Z, they need to swipe their credit cards to be able to get that. Except a lot of times, like, it's never really mentioned in the videos, right? But that a lot of damage that you do requires you to have a maxed out focus tree. Like the extra physical and elemental damage is a big part of scaling, right? So if you just have like Vazarin, right? Like you're never gonna do the damage as somebody with what is it, Naramon? You're just never gonna have it. And if they don't understand... Which one is it that gives the base damage? Not that one. Matter Eye. Yeah, physical damage and operator damage increased by 30%. They're just never going to understand why their damage is less if they're running Matter Eye. Or if they're not running Matter Eye, or they're running Zenuric, which they probably should as their first. It's the most utility-based one, right? So stuff like that, it's not really explained in videos, and there's no real context added to it. So, I don't know. I think I've... So, let me finish what you said. Maybe something similar to a ticket system on Discord. That could work. The ticket system, you're right. There is... Maybe I could do that. Like, have people post help. And I'll, like, start at the top, and as people's requests have been filled, I can just, like, delete their request line, but they can just, like, constantly at me or something like that. I could probably do something like that. I will have to learn how a ticket system is done on Discord. Volunteer as helper. I'd appreciate that. At least teach me how to do it. File help tickets from my Discord and have those end up in the same pool as yours. That... I agree that the utility behind that, the ticket system, would be pretty solid. I just don't know how to do it. I just don't know how to do that. I can look for it. I will make a note of that and put effort into at least trying to figure that out. Okay, Cody, another guy in the alliance. Stepdaddy Gamble. Okay, stepson, shouldn't you be studying? What was the other one? I think that might have been the last one. But okay. Good enough. Because I see the time. I was like, oh, this is going to be a 10-minute video. Definitely not a 50-minute video. And here we are at 47 minutes. So I am going to uphold that promise. And I am going to end the video now. So we're not 50 minutes. Jesus. Anyway. Thank you all for watching the video. It's an exciting time in terms of build variety. There are very few times in Warframe where a meta shift potentially this big can happen. There are about to be some very cool things. We are probably... Oh, one more thing. Hold on. I'm going to try to make it quick. Okay, so with the new armor strip, right? Armor strip on the same thing, like on the frame, is additive. But armor strip from the weapon is not additive to the frame. It's multiplicative. So one of the things, if you still want corrosive damage to be relevant, and not only that, be relevant but actually give you a boost in damage, is you can run a 99% strip on the frame, just keep it slightly less, and run corrosive to actually get the armor low enough that you can actually get a damage boost from it, more than viral, if you get it low enough. Obviously, it's going to have issues at higher levels, but if you run like a 99% strip, and then do like a corrosive primary with heat and use that as your scaling and maybe source viral from the Panzer, that is a very potent combination, and it shreds armor. You can get massive amounts of armor down to like single digits. So you don't always have to fully strip. Just keep that in mind, guys. Now it's significantly easier to do it. Like I was doing it on Necros. This one? Okay, so we're slightly over, right? 137, because 138's the inflection point, right? With corrosive projection and this, I would have 99.9% armor strip. For the earlier part of the mission, when the enemies are weaker, this would armor strip completely, right? This would armor strip completely for most of the missions. But as the enemies get higher, Like, these guys have a high enough base armor. Right? Cast twice and it's gone. So you would still have the option. Cast once, it's still there, right? Cast twice and it's gone. But if you were to do like a corrosive weapon, Garakata, right? So strip. Ten stacks of corrosive. Right. First one's the hardest. That one's easy. That one was health. Alright, we're up to 2,600. 3,300. 3,400. 3,600. 3,900. 4K. Right? It becomes very potent because of the 99% strip. Because even with 10 stacks of corrosive and a heat proc and a 99.9% armor strip, you will not reduce. It provides added protection from overstripping. Right? So you can actually fine tune that shit. Like, especially because this is the helminth ability. With 137 power strength and a corrosive projection, you will get 99.9% armor strip, and it will prevent the overstrip, so you can keep your corrosive damage. So pro tip in terms of like variety of building, if you want to go pure viral, you would then do the extra power strength, the full strip, and you would get rid of the other procs, and you would just go pure viral. Whatever the plus 75 is on the health. So for this, because viral's plus 3... Because viral's plus 3, you would ignore everything else. Because you're going to deal so much damage. You would just go for the plus 3 and straight mod for that. And you would try to fit as much modded damage on as possible to get that multiplier as high as possible. So anyway, pro tip, in terms of like build variety, obviously that's not rocket science. Most of you guys know that. I've seen who watches my videos. You guys are pretty knowledgeable, but I also see some new guys also. So for the new bros. Anyway, have a blessed day. 53 minutes, Jesus. Well, I said it wasn't going to be a 50-minute video. Anyway, peace out, guys. Later.